Hey, buddy.
Hi, guys. Well, from gorgeous and warmer ever Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan, we're going to be talking about heaven and hell, the carrot and the stick,
Yeah.
what makes Christians tick.
It's the setup that makes it all work. And for Mormons did it entirely wrong.
Boy, they made it complicated.
That just goes to show that maybe you don't need it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see if you need heaven and hell to be a good Christian / anything. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
I've got just a hell of a story to start us off with.
Oh, good.
This has to do with the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops and the National Suicide Hotline.
Oh
Okay.
dear.
And I don't know. I'm going to let you guess. Do you think they supported the National Suicide Hotline, or do you think they actively worked in the background behind the scenes to undermine it and try to defeat it? Because it was an act of Congress that established it.
I feel like we have to go with. Here's the thing: Catholicism has, since time immemorial, been foursquare. If you commit suicide, you go to hell. So they're against suicide,
Right. This seems like a no-brainer. Catholics, totally.
But you're bringing it up, so it's very obviously the opposite.
That is ding, 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 ding. That is correct, Dan. You get the prize.
Wow.
Yeah, they opposed it when it was being when the bill was being passed to establish it and provide funding and all of that kind of stuff. Well, because the hotline also provided resources to LGBTQ plus people.
Right, of course.
So they were like, well, I
we don't think anybody should commit suicide, but maybe the queer kids. I'm on the fence about the gay kids. I don't know.
Let me tell you, Dan. Yeah, this article actually talks to a professor of theology at Catholic University of America by the name of David Cloutier. And his take on why they would oppose this and why LGBTQ, suicide prevention being included in the bill, why that would be a problem for Catholic priests. He says the language LGBTQ conflates a set of categories that are different in kind. They are all different things. The very language isn't clear about what is included and what isn't included. I think the vagueness that is generated by the term leads the bishops to be wary about the ability of the law to make various kinds of distinctions that the bishops would want to be made, such as you were just saying which ones should actually kill themselves. Right? Like maybe we're okay with the gays and lesbians, but those, and I hate to say that for the sake of a joke, but those trans kids, yeah.
We can let those go.
But you know that's what they're thinking.
Oh my God. It's like, here's the thing. If you need any parsing about which group should or shouldn't be included in the we don't want you to kill yourself group,
you've got a problem.
You are fucked up.
Yeah.
Like that is about as bad. Like that, they are telling on themselves in the worst way.
The worst possible way.
They are admitting to being genuinely awful people.
Yeah.
And certainly no followers of Jesus.
Yeah.
Because I gotta think, I've read a lot of the New Testament. That dude, this is the same guy that washes the feet of the unbeliever and, is extolling the virtues of the Samaritan who actually does something nice, which, there's a little bit of a backhanded compliment. Like, you guys, even a Samaritan can do a nice thing. I'm as surprised as you are. I know. But I gotta think that like Jesus would be like, you probably help everybody not kill themselves. Probably that's the right choice.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we want to help people in crisis, but
Right.
maybe not the over there.
Yeah.
Maybe,
And in case you're wondering, it passed. There
Good.
is a toll-free national suicide hotline.
Yes.
Yes, if you're gay or trans and you're having a tough time, you can call it.
we are actually recording this on International Trans Awareness Visibility. I don't know the official name of the day, but happy Trans Day for everybody, and
Fantastic.
And
yes.
to all of our trans listeners, we love you, we see you, we value you. I just want to put that out there.
That's wonderful, Dan.
Also, if you're struggling, Frank,
Yeah.
say the number. What is the number?
The number for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-8255.
Yeah. So if you're in the U.S., give that a call. They literally get the help you need. If you
Yeah,
are in crisis, that's fine. You're allowed to be in crisis, but get the help you need. You're not doing something wrong by getting some help. So great. I'm going to move to okay. So there's a thing that's been happening for a minute in the U.S. that I was not aware of, which is that Christians are catching on to their own history a little bit.
Oh?
The word crusade, when you talk in Christian terms, has people are apparently shocked to learn a very negative side to it. Like the Crusades themselves were were violently horrific, and were all about like, hey, want to join the Christian church? No? Guess we got to kill you then, or torture you until you say you do, and then kill you.
Right.
Anyway, a lot of horrific stuff. Apparently nobody knew that before, this century, because an alarming number of Christian organizations used that word. There was apparently a Christian organization called Campus Crusade for Christ, which in the year 2011 apparently changed their name to Cru, which, does that help? It's CRU. It still stands for Crusade.
Maybe it's for a Grand Cru.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently another thing that is now being taken care of but should have been known before is that a lot of places, a lot of Christian colleges had their mascot be the Crusaders.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, like, apparently Wheaton College in Illinois, Valparaiso University, and now both of them have changed their mascots. And now the latest to join them is Evangel University. Evangel? I don't know how you say that word if you're not going to complete it. But Evangel University in Missouri is now finally doffing the name with Crusaders as their mascot.
Any idea what they're changing them to?
Let's see. One of them, Wheaton, changed to the Wheaton College Thunder, which is
boring.
fine. I don't know.
Boring.
And I think that that Evangel is still on the hunt for their.
We should send them some ideas.
Let's just email them. Yeah,
Help them out.
How about the hateful pricks? No, it's clunky. It's clunky. I admit that. How about the jerks?
The marauders, the intruders.
Yeah,
the
barbarians. How about the barbarians? I think that'll work.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah.
Here's some happy news. Let's do some happy news.
I like happy news. What?
Yeah, well,
We never get to do those.
When it has to do with polling in the United States and general sort of gathering a sense of sort of the general public's religiosity.
Uh-huh.
It's been good news more or less lately.
Yeah.
And it's still good news. But some new numbers are out for 2020, where for the very first time, U.S. church membership has fallen below majority. Can you believe it? 40 down to 47% of Americans saying that they belong to a church, synagogue, or mosque. That is down from 50% in 2018 and down from 70% in 1999.
Wow. That is impressive. You know, it's one of those things where that obviously doesn't mean that same number is atheist now or doesn't believe anymore.
No, yeah, of course not.
I love the idea that many people are no longer paying their tithing, are no longer feeding that the beast.
Absolutely.
I think that's amazing.
And hopefully they're still giving, and they're giving to causes that they believe in, right? I work with somebody who used to be, well, kind of still is Mormon, but he doesn't pay his tithing anymore. And we were just talking the other day, and he's like, yeah, I give to what I want to. And I just like, that's exactly the right attitude. So he's still taking that percentage of his income that he was used to giving, and now he's giving it to charity. So
I love that.
Yeah, just wonderful, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Now, this is interesting because I think, when I think about America falling away from religious practice, I think that it's a generational thing, right? This is my perception of it. I'm like, this is a rise of new generations, younger people who believe at lower percentages and that are practicing at lower percentages than, older generations. And that is true. The younger generations, like the millennials, let's see, in 2000, in the period between 2008 2010, which is how this is sort of structured, 51% said that they belonged to a church.
Okay.
And that number is down to 36%.
Woo!
But in Gen X, it was 57%. Now it's down to 50% over the same period of time. But what's interesting about this is that they are also looking at baby boomers, and that group of people that are born before 1946, which they're calling traditionalists, which I've never heard that term. I've heard sort of greatest generation or silent generation being used to describe them. All of these age groups are seeing a downward trend.
They're getting wise, Frank.
Baby boomers went from 63% down to 58% over that same period.
Yeah, that's because you can't make baby boomers give their money to anybody.
And they're getting wise to the whole church scam. Yeah, probably. Right. And then the traditionalists, as they're being called here, down from 73% to 66%.
What?
Which is a drop of, over the period between, because they have numbers going back to 1998 to 2000, where it was 77% belonged to a church in that group. And so it's down 11% over 2 decades.
What this says to me is that the social stigma of not going to church is gone.
Yeah. No,
or is leaving. You know, maybe in parts of the deep south, here in Utah, there are places where it's still very prevalent, but overall it's eroding.
Yeah.
And it's eroding fast.
Yeah.
And I am here for it.
Well, it says to me that there were always a lot of people who went to church for just the social aspect, or just because they felt the pressure to. Yeah. It's absolutely wonderful. And then there's some other demographic breakdowns, if we want to just take a minute to go through those too. Now, all of these, it's a 20-year period. So basically we can say 1999 to 2019 right? So we
Okay.
can look at these two different sets of numbers. So women back 20 years ago belonged to churches at 73%, and that has dropped down to 53%. Men, it was 64% down to 46%, but that's only a drop of 18%. So go women. You're losing it quicker. And then
You're saving us.
still though, belonging to churches at a higher rate than men, but it's tapering off at a faster rate. Now this one blew my fucking mind. College graduates went from 68% belonging to a church.
60. Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Back in 99.
Yeah.
Non-college graduates were at 69%. So basically the same.
Right.
Okay. Now watch this or get this. This is unbelievable. College graduates dropped to 54%. That's a 14% drop. Non-college graduates drop to 47%, which is a 22% drop.
Oh my God. What are they teaching in these colleges?
Faith, apparently.
Apparently.
Like that's amazing. There's a lower percentage of non-college graduated people in this country who belong to churches than college graduated.
That's
college
crazy.
educated, right? Like that's absolutely nuts. Non-married folks will not surprise you. Lower percentage by a long shot versus married people, because churches usually traditionally do a really poor job after a certain age of involving singles.
They make you feel more and more isolated.
Yeah, so that
as
makes
you
a
go
lot
on.
of sense. Democrats, 46% currently belong to churches. 65% of Republicans currently do.
Yeah, okay. But still, 65 is low for Republicans. That's low
Yeah, no, I know. It's all effing crazy.
because
And then-
the GOP is basically the party of Jesus. That's God, guns, and something else.
Yeah.
Another G word.
And then there's sort of some regional numbers. In the West, only 38% of people will belong to churches.
Whoa.
In the South, it's 58% currently.
Yeah.
The Midwest, 54%. That doesn't surprise me that those are really similar.
Right.
The eastern part of the country, 44%. So the West is the lowest.
Wow.
But it's dropping off the quickest in the East. So yeah, some very, very interesting numbers. I always find this fascinating to kind of dig into, but it's looking good, everybody. Keep it up. Whatever you
trend
guys are
lines-
doing out there, keep it up.
The trend lines are going our way. That's good. All right. But unfortunately, not all the things can be good.
Oh,
So-
Dan.
Well,
Way to
look,
bring the show down.
Hey, we just had the vernal equinox,
yeah.
which happy Ostara to all of the pagans out there, and I'm about to insult you because I think paganism's dumb, just like other religions. But here's the thing. Paganism is a religion, and as you know, in a country where everybody's allowed to have your religion, as such, it's protected. You're allowed to have that religion here in these United States.
Yeah.
But apparently not so much if you work at Panera, the baking company, the baking chain, the bread chain company in
salad sandwich place that thinks that touts their bread, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
It's you order at a counter, they bring your food out type place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've got a tray. I think a tray is involved.
We don't have them here. So
I think we do.
I don't think we do. My parents love Panera. It used to be whenever I would go home, on the way home from the airport, because they were in Tulsa, so they were really excited that they got to go to Panera, and they thought I would be happy to go to Panera. I gotta tell you guys, I wasn't too happy to go to Panera.
Oh, it's just sandwiches. I mean, it's not bad.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's
just nothing to get excited about.
It didn't match their level of excitement. That's my thing. They were just so excited to go to Panera. Oh, we're going to Panera. Well, you can get an apple, they would tell me. You can get an apple as a side. They do nothing. This place, they're just giving you an apple. At least slice it or something.
Oh my God, that's funny. I'm just imagining your parents so excited about this Apple option that they've discovered. No, you will not believe what you could just get an Apple. You could just have that. All right. Well, listen. Tammy McCoy, who worked, she worked at a Panera just outside of Pittsburgh. And apparently everything was going along just fine until one day on a break, one of her managers decided to ask her what her religion was. Which, if you're a manager, don't ever ask that. Don't do that in the workplace. That's a wrong thing to do. But McCoy, Tammy said, "I'm a pagan," which was apparently the wrong answer, decidedly so. And her managers decided to let her know that by telling her that she was going to hell. And then the other one sort of vociferously agreeing. And that's when the shit started. Apparently her hours were cut.
No.
And when she asked why, she was informed that she needed to find God.
So we're giving you some time to do that.
Yeah,
We cut your hours so you have some more time to go find God.
And literally they said, like, when you find Jesus, you'll be able to go back to your regular schedule. Like, what the fuck? And there was apparently more
corporate policy, or was this like when corporate found out?
She went to corporate. She went to corporate HR to say, hey, maybe not this. Didn't get a word back.
Oh, no.
She apparently she just requested to be transferred to a different store. And apparently the district manager was like, no, we're probably going to fire you anyway.
Oh, no.
So she's suing, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah. Get some of that Apple money.
Get all the apples from that store. You, madam, are going to own their orchard. I hope so. She's suing under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act.
Good.
And hopefully, I wish her all the luck in the world. I don't think paganism's anything special. I think it's pretty stupid.
But people have a right.
But if you are a pagan,
at the workplace,
nobody gets to say you can't work. Nobody gets to say we're going to rob you of your livelihood.
Yeah, no way. No, that's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Apparently, she's being represented in part by the Lady Liberty League, which was founded in the 80s to defend people against the Satanic Panic, back when pagans were regularly accused of. Well, during the Satanic Panic, people were accused of horrible things, and usually it was child molestation, and usually they implanted memories into children. But that's a whole other kettle of worms. So
yeah, wow.
We'll talk about that some other time.
Brutal. Okay.
Yeah.
Dan, over there in Arkansas. Nice Arkansas.
We've been to Arkansas.
Arkansas is a beautiful place.
We had fun times.
Their governor, Asa Hutchinson, he
it's a good biblical name.
Yeah, signed into law legislation this last week. He signed it into law. Legislation that allows doctors to refuse to treat someone because of religious or moral objections.
Yeah.
Now, of course, this is not a good thing.
No, this is a terrible, stupid thing.
Here's some scenarios that opponents came up with that would be completely plausible and legitimate scenarios. So, for example, let's say a transgender patient was needing inpatient care for an infection, but the healthcare workers were uncomfortable with the hormone treatments that person requires and making sure that that's getting to them, right? So what? Now they can just deny somebody their hormones because they don't like the person and who they are.
They don't agree with that person's
religiously agree.
actual identity.
What about grief counseling for a same-sex couple, right? Who may have just gone through something, but that grief counselor is a good Christian and just feels uncomfortable going over and helping them out. It could be used. The law could also be used to refuse to fill prescriptions for birth control. You know, that's real cool. The governor had this to say. I support this right of conscience so long as emergency care is exempted and conscience objection cannot be used to deny general health service to any class of people.
You just signed a law that can deny general health service to classes of people.
Now get this.
That's literally what you just signed.
Now get this. He goes on. He says, most importantly, the federal laws that prohibit discrimination on the basis of race, sex, gender, and national origin continue to apply to the delivery of healthcare services. So wait. I don't know enough about legal stuff here. If the federal law is providing appropriate protections, then
why does this matter?
Why does this matter?
Yeah, did they just pass an illegal law that's just going to have to now go hit the courts
that sounds exactly like what they did. This is probably one of those little test balloon things to try to see what legal havoc they can cause to run up to the Supreme Court. It was not popular except among, and this right here has to change. How do legislatures end up with crazy numbers of rabid, hateful Republicans who will pass these kind of laws when the general population is kind of just like, I don't care? And on top of it, things like the state chamber of commerce, which chambers of commerce are usually very conservative organizations,
right?
Opposed the measure, saying that it sends the wrong message about Arkansas, right? They're pro-business. They understand it. They get it. The best thing you can do is just have an open society, be welcoming, get the best recruits for your companies, right? And just don't care about these dumb issues.
Yeah.
That by and large, Americans don't care about these issues, right? Americans are give them health care.
The vast majority of Americans support the mandating that everybody gets good care.
Yes.
It's insane. It's insane. They're just literally the Christianity of America has gone off its nut.
Yeah.
It is insane.
And the thing is, and you know what? I know that American Christianity right now is really damaging and harmful to a lot of people. But I kind of don't want them to change. I want them to keep alienating people. I want them to keep being... I don't want them to keep being dicks because people get hurt. But the fact of the matter is they're revealing to everyone who they really are.
Yeah, literally.
And people are looking at it and they're saying, I don't want to have anything to do with that.
Yeah, because everybody keeps getting a gay kid or a gay nephew or a trans uncle or a whatever.
Yeah, right.
And suddenly they're dealing with a good person in their lives who happens to be what is being demonized. And it's just, it's going to ruin them. It's ruining them. You talked about the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, finally, I'm going to talk about a Christian school that has made an apology.
Oh,
thank God. At Lee University there in Tennessee has issued some very strongly worded apologetic statements. They are not in the correct direction. Unfortunately. So what seems to have happened is that the head of a group called Center for Faith, Sexuality, and Gender in Iowa. A man delightfully named Dr. Preston Sprinkle, which I think you can't get a better name than that. Literally, when I was choosing my stories, I was like, well, this has to be a story because it has the name Dr. Sprinkle in it. And here's the thing. Dr. Sprinkle is apparently, he's Christian and, very committed to his faith. But his talk at Lee University included the idea that maybe it's okay to be kind to LGBTQ people. Maybe compassion,
just maybe.
even if you don't believe that what they're doing is right, maybe compassion for them is okay.
Compassion. That's what I feel like I need from Christians is compassion.
It's a start. It's something. It's not nothing. It's not hatred. Anywho,
it's not compassion. That's not like if you're actually like hurting, right? Like if you're actually in a bad place, compassion is absolutely the right thing and wonderful. Right. But if you're perfectly fine, right, and your Christian neighbor comes around and is like being all compassionate, I would just be like, fuck you.
Please go away now. I get that. That makes sense to me. Anyway, what he was doing was not preaching apparently the appropriate amount of hatred.
Oh, no.
Because Lee flipped the fuck out. This is a Pentecostal university, affiliated university, and apparently, they had to release some statements. Things like, let's see, this is from some. Who is this? The board?
We're terribly. We apologize profusely.
This is the press release. Here we go. During his presentation. He, meaning Sprinkle, addressed sexual orientation and homosexuality in a manner that was contrary to Scripture, i.e., we don't hate them enough.
Right.
Church of God, contrary to Scripture, Church of God doctrine and teachings. The International Executive Committee has shared directly their concerns with Dr. Mark Walker and the leaders of Lee University.
Oh, yeah.
They go on a little later to say, the beliefs and commitments of the Church of God are our non-negotiables and should be clearly taught based upon the authority of Scripture. We don't pick and choose at all. We are non-negotiable. Oh, my God. Then that Mark Walker that they talked about, who's the president of the university, sent out a letter basically as an apology for it, saying, quote, Dr. Sprinkle's articulation of repentance was somewhat ambiguous, and I affirm that Lee's position on repentance is that we have all sinned and come short of God's glory, et cetera, yada, 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 until we consider chapel a sacred responsibility, so much so that on those occasions when our invited chapel speakers miss the mark, we want to bring better clarity and understanding.
Oh, they're just doing their duty.
Yeah, they just need to. They just need to make sure. I love this part, and this is the best kicker of it all. If I claim to truly love you, and I know that what you're entering into, the choices you're making, are going to bring hurt and harm and damage to your life, but I don't warn you or tell you, I don't really love you.
Oh, God.
It's love, Frank. He's loving you.
Then don't love me.
Please,
let's go back to that hate thing, because the hate sounded a little bit better.
Yeah. It's also indistinguishable from your love. Your love and your hate are literally indistinguishable. The Venn diagram of actions you take when you love a gay person and actions you take when you hate a gay person are a circle. Oh my God. Yeah. That whole line of reasoning, listen, if anybody ever feeds you that, you can go ahead and tell them there's not an LGBTQ person in this country who doesn't already know your take on it. So you don't have to say a word to them. They already know. They know your take better than you know your take. You can just be nice to them and not warn them about a damn thing because they already know the warning. They already know, and they're still choosing to honor what's real to them. Sorry.
Isn't that amazing that they think that we don't know?
Right?
The stupid, shit they're trying to sell us or convince us of. It's like, no, oh no, we know, yeah, we don't want it.
Like they think they're gonna be like, that you can't get to heaven without Jesus, right? And the person that they're talking to is going to go, wait, what? What? What are you saying to me right now? Tell me everything. I know none of this. What is happening? I am shocked.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Whatever it is you're selling.
Exactly.
Oh my
Whatever it is. I need that heaven. We'll talk about that later on in the show.
Yeah.
But before we move on, if you guys have anything you'd like to say about this or any of the stories we've covered, please feel free to write into us. podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442. Stick around. There's more show coming up. Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Now's the time in the show where we like to listen to a little clippy of some asshole religious person.
When we allow some total dickhead to have their say, and then we make fun of them. And this dickhead, today's dickhead, is a guy named Robin Bullock, who looks like I don't know how to describe him. He's in a leather jacket, so he's cool. And he's got long hair, so he's rebellious.
Yeah.
But his long hair is like, I don't even know how to describe. He's got bangs, and the rest is swept back. It's kind of a Karen look, really.
He looks like the nurse on ER, the first season of ER.
If you took motorcycle Karen, threw a beard on her, that's just let that be the visual. Okay, whatever you just came up with, that's your visual. And motorcycle Karen has something to say about. She's going to give us a lesson on history. We'll just leave it at that.
But what the Ides of March is, it's the middle of the month. It's the middle of March. It's the 15th of March. That's the Ides of March. And on that day, the most famous thing that happened on the Ides of March is Julius Caesar was killed. The military took him down on the Ides of March. And on March 15th, on the Ides of March, this is when it coincides with us. And if you'll notice, after the Ides of March on the 15th, when Joe Biden started up those steps, this was 5 days, I think, later. It was 5 days after the Ides of March. I believe it was. Right after that came, because that time filled a time. It filled one of those squares. What is the Ides of March? Did you know on the 15th of March it was there that Hitler told the leader of Czechoslovakia, we're invading you. And right after that meeting, it had such an impact, the man had a heart attack and died. So on the Ides of March. Now the Ides of March is the 74th day of the Roman calendar. And it coincides with the 15th day of March here. Now, it was marked by several religious services, and it was notable for the Romans, listen to this, as a deadline date for settling affairs or settling debts. It was the day for settling debts. on the Ides of March. Finalities came on the Ides of March. And it's like we were talking that day. On the 15th of March, it filled a time that is famous. There's a lot of things happened. You can look up what's happened on the 15th of March. But it was when that came in the earth and the military took Julius Caesar's power from him. He was a tyrant. He was a tyrant. And I believe, just like you and I were talking about, I believe on the 15th of March, a power came into the earth to remove tyrants from their seats of authority. And a few days after that, you saw Biden fall trying to get up to Air Force One, and he couldn't get up there. He finally had to just grab each side and run. The first time it was a little stumble. The second one was a bigger stumble. And the third one, he fell all the way down. He's finished. He's done.
Oh, my God.
The amount of hay that people are trying to make from an old man tripping as he went up the stairs has been amazing. I mean, yeah, he tripped 3 times, which is a little bit like, come on, man, get a grip. But
he did have a grip. Did you see the grip he had on that handrail?
Well, afterwards, yeah. It's
the
just
only
so
reason
stupid.
he didn't go all the way down the thing. My
To
God,
connect
though.
that, though, to the killing of Julius Caesar.
What the hell is this guy on
It
about?
didn't even happen on the day.
No.
It didn't even happen on... And then only a
Soon
few days
thereafter.
later. Only 20 or 40 days after that, who knows what'll happen.
God.
It's all related to the Ides of March. By the way, the military, in my limited
Didn't-
understanding,
yes.
did not kill Julius
No.
Caesar. That was the Senate.
Yes. It was senators who were worried about military control.
Right.
Because
Who were
Caesar...
worried about, yeah, exactly.
well, not even military, just tyrannical control.
Caesar was the military.
was.
What are you talking
I know.
about? Okay.
I know.
We're just, I'm going to
let's
calm it
see.
down.
These are important historical events that happened on...
Oh, you did the same thing I did.
Yeah.
That was first thing that I did was Google what happened.
The first escalator was patented
Ooh.
by... in New York City. That's kinda
fancy.
cool. Yeah.
I've got Tsar Nicholas abdicating the throne in Russia.
Oh.
That's a thing.
Maine was admitted as the 23rd state of the Union
Yes,
in
yes, indeed.
1820.
Sure. LBJ called for equal voting rights. Didn't apparently get it, but that was when he addressed a joint session of Congress. That's
Oh,
good.
wow. That's cool.
I love the idea that also Hitler had a conversation on that day. That was it's a big day, you guys.
Oh, my God. Amazing. Yeah. I mean,
Oh Lord.
and like this, the problem is, it's like even like just this bad, like it's kind of feels like numerology or something
Yeah.
along those lines, right? Where it's
Yeah.
just like this thing has significance, right? Where it's like you guys should be rejecting that. I would think as Christians, like you're talking about like, I mean, Rome was pagan. So like all of these like traditions that you're talking about being on March 15th, right?
Yeah. You're thinking of a soothsayer.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Shakespeare talking about a soothsayer saying beware the Ides of March.
Yeah.
That's the only reason you know that phrase. Is because of William Shakespeare.
Oh,
And you just thought you'd just throw, oh my God, everybody's an idiot. Everybody's an idiot. Well, not everybody.
Also, here's a good one. In 1897, the first indoor fly casting tournament took place at Madison Square Garden.
Wow. It is a red
It's
letter
an
day.
auspicious day.
It's a banner day in history. That March 15th.
Inauspicious day.
Oh, Lordy. All right. Well, you know who's not an idiot is the people who have written and called into us. So I think we should read and or hear them. Let's start with a voicemail, shall we?
I think that sounds great, Dan. This first one that we want to have a little listen to is from a caller sharing a story about some situations that he's run into in his working retail.
Okay.
In what sounds like a very religious place.
Great.
Hey, Frank and Dan. This is Mark. I've called a couple times in the past. I just thought I'd share some of the cheap shots that religious people, in particular Christians, have used with me recently. I work retail, and I'm by myself at the store usually. And I've heard some funny ones. So I guess first off, I had a gentleman in here ask if we do missionary discounts. And I told him, I'm sorry, sir, we don't do missionary discounts. And he asked me sort of, surprised, do you not want blessings? Which I thought that was pretty funny because I didn't know missionaries had blessing powers, but, whatever. So there was that one. We also had a guy come in to 3 of our stores in the area and buy products and proselytize. How can I pray for you? Like, do you know Jesus? All to return all the items the next day. Just basically as an excuse to talk to us about Jesus. So that was a fun one, and he basically wasted company resources and time, so that was awesome. I also had a guy order a product from us, very, very cheap product, and he needed us to call him basically because he was on a request form, and he had a 4-minute answering machine communicating the entire gospel and all of, the works of Jesus and why we need our souls saved basically, and how we're a fallen people and how he used to be into drugs until he found the Lord God Almighty, and it changed his life. And I'm just standing there like on the phone, just a retail guy trying to call a customer who bought something from us, and I have to listen to his 4-minute answering machine message, which very conveniently he didn't answer. So I thought you guys would like to hear it. There are a couple other funny stories, but, thought I'd keep it short and to the point. Have fun with it. See you guys. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Just shut up. Everybody, I'm getting... now my blood's boiling. I'm mad. That is some... I'm glad Mormons are so passive-aggressive because that is almost intolerable. All of that bullshit. Just... buying something
so
as an excuse to proselytize and then returning it all?
That's amazing.
That makes you a liar.
Yeah.
You're just a liar.
Yeah.
There's no way. And listen.
And that poor, I just just holding somebody captive while you're sitting there, like they don't want to hear your nonsense.
Oh, let me tell you something. You know what? Send me that guy's voicemail. Send me his phone number, because I am going to tell him no one will join your church if you make them listen to this. Boring people into joining into your belief system is a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, what it says to me is that whatever way they stumbled into like religion, right? It must be something similar, right? Like, it must just be some weird chance happening where somebody said something and they're like, excuse me, what? Right? Because why else would they think that these tactics work?
No, that's the thing. They don't. First of all, I think a lot of these people are just trying something. They think they've got the bread. They're looking at the world and they're like, yeah, all the standard tactics don't work. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try it. I'm going to innovate.
Knocking on doors.
Yeah. So I think that's what's happening. And the other thing is, and this is evident every time you fucking go to a subway station and somebody's, preaching Jehovah's Witness at you. They don't actually want to convert you. They don't actually want to convert anybody. All they want to do is bother you to show God that they're trying. They just want to tick up points on their little registry card in heaven.
Oh.
Like every time they yell at a stranger, they get a little notch in their thing.
That's a fucked up
all
heaven.
They're trying to do. They know for a fact they're not going to convert anybody from doing what they're doing, but it counts.
I think these are especially sort of naive and socially just inept, right?
Yes.
People. And they just don't have a clue. But my favorite thing in there is, you don't want blessings?
You don't want
From somebody who's like,
Nope.
you don't give discounts? You don't want blessings? It's like,
Although, let me tell you something. If you're in the South, which I assume this has to be in the South, if you live in the American South, ask for the missionary discount. Everywhere you go, you might as well get it too. If they're getting it, you might as well get it.
there's a missionary discount?
Clearly, because that guy thought there was. There clearly is. This is a secret code to get 10% off at anywhere that like feels guilty about their Christianity.
Yeah.
So especially if they're dicks to you, or if they're, if you go into a store and they're whatever, tell them you're a missionary and see if they'll give you a discount. It's worth a shot. Worst they can say is no.
Oh, golly gee.
And then you can make them feel bad. You can say, "Don't you want blessings?" And then you're paying it forward, and I love that. We had somebody write into us. This is from Dan. It's just a solid name. I imagine very handsome guy named Dan, who says, Frank and Dan, I just discovered your podcast recently, and it is absolutely fantastic. I'm currently working my way through your past episodes. Horrifying. We always are terrified when someone does that.
Yeah.
But I drive a lot, so I have plenty of time. Thank you for being a breath of fresh air in the news world. You guys are awesome.
Oh, nice.
So that's lovely. That's nice. Thanks for that. And we have another voicemail, don't we?
We do. And this caller is responding to the episode where we talked about the Atlanta shooter.
Yes.
And she adds to the conversation just a great way. So let's have a listen.
So I just left a note thanking you for your progressiveness, and I just finished listening to the 485th episode about the Atlanta shooter and how religion causes the sexual purism issues and the responsibility of females for males' sexuality and all that. I just wanted to add to the train of thought that in many, many atheist groups, men seem to choose to remain within the idea of religion that they're better than women or stronger or smarter. It's just to say, oh, look, we're rejecting religion except for this part where we're superior to you, which is more than problematic and feeds rape culture and feeds misogyny. And yes, even though we are moving away from religion in this country, until we reach a point where men have chosen to completely remove that particular article of religious bullshit, we're never really going to progress. You can't keep a hold of your religious views that your penis makes you superior and still actually call yourself an atheist, I guess. Well, I guess you can call yourself an atheist, but you're also just a little bit of a jerk who is holding on to your, atheism. I mean, your religion. It's either science or it's religion. You got to pick a side. Thanks, guys, again for, going to bat for all the peoples, all the atheists. Keep it cool. Peace. Bye-bye.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I got to say, I have seen a disturbing streak of misogyny in the atheist world. I think a lot of atheist men are really cool. There's a lot of really good atheist men out there. But it is kind of alarming how many atheist men don't self-confront on that point. And I'm going to encourage you all to do some real hard, deep looks inside and look for ways that maybe you're not being cool about differences in gender that don't mean anything.
Right.
So get on it. Enough with the misogyny, dickheads. Okay. Listen, we listen. One of the ways that you can help us, if you wanna support this show, there's a couple ways that you can do it. The freest of them is to go to iTunes or wherever you hear us and give us 5 stars and write a review for the show. We really appreciate it. You're counteracting some dickhead Christian who's out there giving us a 1 star and writing something negative about us, even though they never listen to us. So this one is from Baki Lee, who titled their review "Great Intro Song," which I can't disagree with. I think it's fantastic. And they say, Frank and Dan are great. Do you love Satan? Do you reject the truth the truth so that you can sin? Well, do I have a podcast for you? These two help keep me up to date with the latest sad news and funny news. So yes, there you go. Thank you so much for the 5-star review. Remember, 5 stars is the only stars that counts. So go ahead and do that. But if you want to further support us and have the means, there are other ways.
Indeed. The best way to get started on this little journey of supporting us financially would be to go to thankgodimatheist.com and clicking on the support tab. And there's a couple options there. But what the 2 people who we're going to mention here in just a second did is they went over to Patreon, where we have an ongoing campaign. And then they signed up. One person signed up as a deacon. And that person is Robert. Thank you, Robert. And we also have a new priest this week.
Wow.
Nathan. So thanks to Nathan.
Fellas, you now have magic powers. Congratulations.
Super
You now
magic
have
powers.
the Aaronic priesthood from Frank and Dan.
Yeah.
That's an exclusive.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking about this today, Dan. I do love that you've mentioned that you love it whenever we ordain a woman, right, to our fake priesthood.
Yes, indeed.
Or what am I talking about? To the priesthood. In the temple, in the Mormon temple, I just remembered it today. There's this whole thing about selling priesthoods, right?
Oh.
And it's like Satan talking about it, if I remember right. And I was just like, and then it's been a long time. Those of you out there who've been through the temple more recently than me, you might remember a little bit better. But there was this whole thing, and I was just like, oh my God, I love, period, that we're selling priesthoods.
Yeah, listen, if you should get in on this action. Get yourself some Satan priesthood.
It's so powerful.
It's amazing. And literally, we are imbuing you with every bit as much magic power as the Mormons themselves imbue on their people.
On their 12-year-olds.
So enjoy that. Thank you guys so much for your support. Go to thankgodimatheist.com and support us. We really appreciate it.
And as always, we need to thank our top donor, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Our Lord and Savior, Austin!
Austin!
Hey, Dan.
Yes, hello.
Oh, hi there. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Oh, how have
I'm so glad we made it back.
How have you been?
From that little musical bed.
Well, Dan, I saw something getting shared around this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, this last weekend. Really, I think is when I first saw it.
Was it coronavirus? Because that's still going around.
That is getting shared around still. Yeah. However, this little story, it's really a clip of this retired priest saying that hell was invented by the Catholic Church to control people, right?
Aw.
And it caught my eye.
He said the quiet part out loud.
And like it really wasn't a story for us to bring up on sort of the first part of the show, but as part of like this bigger discussion that we have on the second half, I thought it would be an interesting jumping off point, because it got me thinking about sort of people's motivations, right? Within Christianity, why are they good, right? Are they good because of fear? Are they good because of some reward, right? That they think they're going to get in heaven, right? Like, it does feel like their motivations might be in the wrong, coming from the wrong place. And that it maybe could slightly explain Christianity's ability to kind of just create bad people, right? And the kind of people you don't want to spend too much time around because their motivations are all wrong, right?
Right. And to be clear, if you have a 4-minute voicemail message that's all about Jesus that you make people sit through to leave you a message, you're a bad person. It makes you a bad person.
makes you somebody that other people don't want to spend time with or be around, right?
And you're going to hell also.
And so anyway, like, it's ironic to me that within the structure of Christianity, this is what people think makes you good, right?
Yeah.
And on the flip side,
you mean just obeying the rules?
Just obeying the rules and not working and not doing the work. And there are plenty of Christians, I'm sure, who do the kind of work that we're going to talk about. But what I revel in, now, in my life, being free from religion, all these 20 years or whatever it is now, is having the opportunity just to figure it out and to do work on myself, right? Yeah. And to just try to be a good person, right? To try to do the right thing because it's the thing that makes our society better, maybe, or makes me more pleasant to be around, or, a better coworker, or a better husband, or whatever it is, right?
Right.
It's like, I'm just doing it and maybe it is a little bit selfish because it is good to be better because people like you more. But that seems to be a pretty good motivator, though. And that seems to be a good motivation to just try to be better, right?
Yeah.
Always trying to be better because why not?
Well, also we have a lot of social reasons to be better. I mean, the truth is that your idea of people like you more is part of an evolutionary mandate. We as a critter evolved to be social.
Right.
And that's a survival tactic. That's not just sort of a random happenstance. That's how we have to be because we're slow and we're not very good at a lot of the things that make other critters survive.
Yeah.
When there's just one of us.
Right.
But when there's a lot of us, we do great. So we have evolved to be social creatures and as such need to have social rules in place. And those rules are inset. They're part of us. Mm-hmm. At least the basics. The Christians are so fucking proud of their thou shalt not kill as though nobody else had figured that out before. Thou shalt not steal. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
We got it.
And that great...
Everybody has known that.
And then the rest of the list is kind of shit. There might be one or two others that are like, oh, yeah. But it's a shit list that they follow.
It's a dumb list of rules. But the point that you're getting at about this hell business is that when your motivation, because here's the thing, and you hear this all the time, when a Christian meets an atheist or when a Muslim meets an atheist, the question is, they or even better, when they don't meet an atheist, but when they talk about atheists as though they know what's going on in our head, they say, oh, nothing's keeping them from murdering.
Right.
Nothing's keeping them from stealing.
Right.
They have no moral center. And it's like, dude, it's the opposite. Literally, our moral center is centered in our humanity, which is where all morality comes from. It's our humanity and our connection with each other. And the more deeply we connect with each other, the stronger our moral center is.
Right.
And it's when you divorce your own morality from yourself and bring it in from an external source that you get a little wonky.
Yep.
These people don't have morality. They have rules. And that's a totally different concept.
Yeah.
So if you're obeying the rules, you may be acting morally, but you may not have a moral center. So you don't actually know that, the difference between understanding that my rules say that I'm not allowed to be a homosexual.
Right.
And the difference between that and actually acting in a moral way towards someone else who believes differently.
Or what if
Someone else who may be homosexual, you still have a moral obligation to be kind, to be good, to be, to care if somebody wants to commit suicide. Like, these are all moral obligations that Christians are easily letting go of because they don't have a moral center. They have rules.
Right. Yeah. And big prizes in heaven, especially if they can convert somebody, right? Which leads somebody to being a total lousy person buying stuff just so they can talk to somebody about
It's
religion.
a fucking game show. You're so right.
Yeah.
It's prizes. And then
yep.
if you lose, sorry, you're going to be punished, not just commensurate with your crimes,
right,
but just eternally.
Yeah.
Just forever punishment for the rest of eternity, forever.
Yeah.
Which, it's shocking that anybody's okay with that concept, because when you look at eternity, this little life is such a blip.
Oh, I know.
How could you possibly do anything in this tiny amount of time to merit torture
forever?
Just forever. You can't. It's impossible. That's just the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just, the concept of hell, give it any amount of examination.
Yeah.
Forget the fact that the Bible doesn't actually have a concept of hell.
Right.
If you know anything about, Bible scholarship, you look at the Old Testament, the Hebrew word that they use, Sheol, is it's not hell, it's the realm of the dead. It's a totally different thing. There is no biblical concept of hell for reals. There's a few different places where they talk about burning, or they talk about the center of the earth, or they talk about all these different things, but there's no unified theory of hell. It was made up to control people. It works great, but it does give. But you just get a bunch of automatons at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
you get a bunch of game show contestants.
I think it works. I think it worked great. I think part of the fall off of religion is the fact that they haven't reformed these most basic ideas. It's not just that they're dicks to people, right?
Right.
It's that there's nothing really all that compelling in a modern context about the idea of heaven and hell. Not it doesn't seem like it to me, right? Because as soon as you start to examine it with a more modern mind, you end up with shows like The Good Place, right? Which, maybe you loved it, maybe you didn't like it, maybe you think it's a good show, maybe you don't. But it does a really nice little takedown of the concept of heaven and hell, right?
Yeah.
And
they're nonsensical at their core.
Yeah.
Both of those concepts, heaven and hell, you can't imagine a one of them that makes sense.
Yeah. So
all you have to do is pursue it,
spend a little time,
any kind of logical conclusion, and it won't make any sense.
Exactly. Ever. And so it needs to be redesigned. That's the premise of the show. But anyway,
I liked it, by the way.
I liked it too.
I'm planting myself in the The Good Place category.
I thought that it was just a fun little show. We don't want to completely derail into it, but I thought that they also, if there were an afterlife, they come up with the right solution, right? Because you can't have eternity. You just can't.
No.
Eternity doesn't work. And and they come up with a fairly elegant solution to it, I thought. But anyway,
There you go.
all right, no spoilers there.
Yeah, exactly.
I do recommend going out and watching it if you haven't. It's a fun show.
Sure.
It's a goofy show too, so brace yourself for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, any show that can make me like Ted Danson again, that's amazing. There you go. Well done, Ted. You're back. Listen, if you guys would like to explain to us a hell that makes sense in your brain or a heaven that makes sense in your brain, or if you'd just like to shit on Ted Danson, you can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click the like button.
And if you'd like to join the TGIA members only lounge, go to thankgodimatheist.com/members only, and it will take you to where you need to go.
Hey, thanks so much to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their fine music.
And a big thanks to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And thanks to all of you friends for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you.
Bye-bye.